We all use our phones every single day, right? But does that actually make a telecom company a good investment? Today, we're going to dive deep, and I mean deep, into the investment prospects of the telecom sector. We're here to figure out if it's really a smart place to put your money. Let's get into it. So let me just ask you this right off the bat. Is investing in your phone company a safe bet? For a long time, the answer seemed like a no-brainer, a definite yes. These were seen as super stable, reliable, almost utility-like stocks. But, well, the game has completely changed. Dramatically. Welcome to another video on investment basics. My name is Majid Butt, and with my background as an accountant, programmer, and investment researcher, I'm going to be your guide as we peel back the layers of the telecom industry from an investor's point of view. And hey, you're definitely going to want to stick around for this one. I've put together a really powerful, practical checklist at the end. 5 critical questions you absolutely must ask before you even think about buying a telecom stock. All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to tackle the big dilemma every telecom investor faces. Then, we'll take a little trip back in time to see how the industry went from a cozy monopoly to total mayhem. After that, we'll survey the modern battlefield and get into its pretty brutal economics. And finally, we'll go looking for a financial fortress before I hand over that all-important investment checklist. So let's start with the big one, the investor's dilemma. For years, everybody thought telecom stocks were the definition of a safe investment. Well, I'm here to tell you that has become a very dangerous myth. You see, the perception is safety, but the reality, it's more like a minefield. The entire sector is just plagued by mediocre, and get this, declining returns on the money it invests. Those protective economic moats, the advantages that are supposed to keep competitors out, they're either shrinking or they've just vanished altogether. A company's future can be completely turned upside down by one regulatory decision. And on top of it all, they have to spend billions of dollars every single year just to stand still. It's like being on a financial treadmill that you can't turn off. So how in the world did a safe bet turn into such a minefield? To really get it, we need to rewind the clock and see how this whole industry went from a comfortable monopoly to what is basically complete mayhem. Before 1984, things are simple. You had AT&T, or Ma Bell, and it was a true monopoly. If you wanted a phone, you paid them, that was it. But then 1984 happened, a huge legal decision that broke the company up. AT&T got to keep the long-distance business, but the local networks, they were spun off into 7 regional companies, the Baby Bells. Then, just 12 years later, the 1996 Telecom Act came along and just blew the doors wide open. It forced those Baby Bells to lease out parts of their own networks to new competitors and at a discount. This is what turned a stable industry into an absolute free-for-all. And that free-for-all in the past has created what I call the modern battlefield. This isn't just one market anymore. Oh no, it's a war being fought on 4 very different fronts. Take a look at this breakdown. These are the 4 battlefronts. You've got the local bells whose advantages are just eroding away. Long distance, it's a total mess, basically no advantages for anyone. The wireless sector is even worse. The competition is excruciating, leading to these brutal price wars. But then you have the rural carriers. Here, the competition is actually low, and their competitive advantage is pretty stable. Understanding this difference is absolutely critical for any potential investor. And if you want to see just how insane that wireless competition is, look at this. A staggering 95% of the U.S. population has access to 3 or more wireless carriers, and 80% can choose from at least 5. Now think about that. When customers have that much choice for what is essentially the same service, what do companies compete on? Just one thing, price. And that is a brutal race to the bottom. That race to the bottom leads us straight into the harsh financial reality of this industry. Let's talk about the brutal economics and 3 common pitfalls that trap so many unwary investors. The first pitfall is a big one: confusing one-time revenue with real sustainable growth. The story of a company called Quest is the perfect cautionary tale. They built this enormous network and reported fantastic growth. But here's the catch. That growth came from selling off big chunks of their network capacity. Those are one-time sales. Once that demand dried up, the real, recurring revenue from services wasn't nearly enough to cover the mountain of debt they'd taken on. It's a classic trap. Okay, for the next pitfall, we need to understand a key metric, EBITDA. It stands for earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. Now, don't let the name scare you. The simplest way to think about it is as a rough measure of the cash a company's main business is generating. It's a super important number in a capital-heavy industry like this one. So here's the key. You have to watch the trend in EBITDA margins. If that margin is falling, that's a huge early warning sign. It's telling you that competition is eating away at profits, or maybe the company is getting less efficient. A healthy, stable margin, on the other hand, suggests the company has the cash flow it needs to reinvest in its network and handle its debt. And that brings us perfectly to the third pitfall, debt. Building these massive networks costs a fortune, so companies often borrow heavily. A really useful rule of thumb for us investors is the debt to EBITDA ratio. Basically, this shows you how many years of cash earnings it would take to pay back all of a company's debt. If you see a ratio that's much higher than 3, that is a major red flag. You should approach with extreme caution. Okay, so we've laid out all the problems. It sounds a bit grim, I know. But now, let's move on to Section 5, Finding the Fortress. In the middle of all this chaos, where can a real competitive advantage, that economic moat, actually be found? Well, here's the lay of the land. Long-distance and wireless carriers, they have virtually no protection, the weakest moats. They are like textbook examples of cutthroat competition. The local bells have a narrow moat, but it is under constant attack from all sides. The strongest, most defensible position actually belongs to the rural carriers. They're protected by geography and quite often by favorable regulations. So, what's the ultimate takeaway from all of this? In an industry where technology and regulations are constantly in flux, those traditional moats just aren't very reliable. The one true, durable advantage is financial strength. A rock-solid balance sheet and strong cash flow give a company the flexibility to survive the storms, invest in the future, and frankly, outlast weaker, over-leveraged rivals. And that brings us to the final, and I think the most practical part of our journey today, Section 6, Your Investment Checklist. These are the 5 critical questions you need to ask. All right, first on the checklist, and I'm going to read this word for word for you. Shifting regulations and new technologies have made the telecom industry far more competitive. Though some areas are more stable than others, look for a wide margin of safety to any estimate of value before investing. So what does that really mean? It means the future is uncertain. You cannot just pay what you think a company is worth. You need to buy it at a significant discount. That's your margin of safety, your cushion to protect you if things go wrong. Second on the list is this. Telecom is a capital-intensive business. Having the resources to maintain and improve the network is critical to success. This goes right back to what we said about cash flow. You have to ask, does the company generate enough cash on its own to pay for these massive network upgrades? Or is it dangerously dependent on borrowing more and more money just to keep the lights on? Number 3, telecom is a high fixed cost business. Keeping an eye on margins is very important. This ties directly back to that EBITDA pitfall we talked about. Because the fixed costs of running the network are so high, every single dollar of revenue matters. If those margins start to slip even a little, profitability can just evaporate fast. Fourth point, watching debt is also important. Firms can easily overextend themselves as they build networks. This is your reminder of our debt to EBITDA rule of thumb. Look, debt itself isn't necessarily evil, but in an industry this competitive and this hungry for cash, too much of it can be an absolute death sentence. And finally, number 5 on our checklist. The price of wireless airtime is plummeting. Carriers continue to compete primarily on price. This is a stark, direct warning about the wireless business. Don't get distracted by headlines about subscriber growth if that growth is only happening because of deep price cuts that are absolutely destroying profitability. So I'll leave you with this one last thought to chew on. In an industry that is defined by constant technological and regulatory change, where all the traditional competitive advantages are so fragile, is a rock-solid balance sheet the only moat that truly matters anymore? That's a question every single investor in this space has to answer for themselves.